All right, folks, we are back live. Another well webinar, another hotel room for me. I'm joined with my favorite Utone. Did I do this right? Am I ever gonna get it right?
You
Utone,
keep
right?
doing an O instead of an A. It's not
U
Utone, Uton.
Uton. Uton. Okay, beautiful. Started from the top. My
It's like
favorite
Logan and
Utone.
Logan. Get
Logan,
it?
exactly. And then, as always, the man with the plan, the whale wrangler, Logan Brown. Logan, how's your Old Miss doing? You guys are doing work, right? You just took down, or Alabama just fumbled there a little bit. Like you're doing well, right?
Yeah, if you want to talk football, we're 7-0. It's still early. We're up against LSU this weekend. We pretty much have the entire West ahead of us. But there's some things in our favor. If we beat Alabama and LSU, if we beat LSU and Alabama, we should have a lock for the West. So if anybody cares about football, we've never won the SEC West. Never been to Atlanta for the SEC championship. So this would be an amazing run if we could do it.
Yeah. Not to get
Jackson Dart is from Utah.
really.
Quarterback.
We got the transfer portal. He can throw that thing straight over a mountain.
Yeah, not to get too much into sporty ball, but man, the SEC is just absolutely stacked. That conference is it's another level. It is. I'm a
Where
Big Ten
champions are
guy.
red.
Yeah, it's where champion. I'm a Big Ten guy, but man, it is hard to argue with the excellence over there. Speaking of excellence, a few housekeeping things. We have the Beluga Bash, which is out live. That is belugabash.com. If you guys want to join us in Austin, Texas, that is November 1st. Logan Brown actually and I will be partnering up on a pickleball team. So if you want to see how good we are, come out there. It's going to be an awesome time. It's free. Come on out. It's out in Dreamland. Just make sure you sign up so we can get you into the bracket. And then Creative Palooza is our creative e-commerce event. Everything creative that is off the back of Beluga Bash. So that's on the 2nd and 3rd of November. That is creativepalooza.fun. So CreataPalooza.fun. We probably should have thought of a better URL, but we were trying to play off of the let's toss that in the off of Lollapalooza. So that is out now. It is $500, but we can get you some discount if you really want to come. That's breakfast, lunch, dinner, 2 after parties, all the awesomeness. You can go look at the lineup on the site, but there's a bunch of just absolute crushers coming out there. And then what else I got for you guys? Beluga Bash, Creative Palooza. Oh, we have a Black Friday Cyber. So this is kind of going to be a little bit heavy. We're going to do Black Friday Cyber Monday tactics. But if you didn't get your fill here, we're having an actual webinar with a bunch of other hitters that is off the back of our Black Friday Cyber Monday guide, which you can download at triplewell.com/Black Friday Cyber or BFCM. But we're bringing a bunch of people on October 27th to just talk shop. You can do Q&A. You can do all that awesomeness. And I think that is it. Am I missing anything, Logan, Sonder? What other housekeeping do we have?
I just know last time there was some people who were probably going to Nashville to meet up with you guys at Geek Out. I mean, not that it's our event, but you'll be there, right?
Yep. So I'll be at Geek Out as well. We'll be doing some really cool data dumps there. So we're sitting across around 10% of Shopify's GMV, 6,500 stores, 50 plus countries, as well as around 2.25 billion in spend track. So we'll be dropping a bunch of cool details on where we see the trends are, looking kind of through back, or kind of some really cool look back, some year over year, some month over months, quarters over quarters. Excuse me. We'll have some really cool things in terms of new customer ROAS, et cetera, et cetera. And kind of shameless plug here. If you don't want to wait till Nashville, we have benchmarks built into the app with some core benchmarks. That was actually Logan's baby, and it's really awesome. So if you are a triple whaler right now, you can jump into the summary page and benchmark yourself against everybody in your peer group, whether that be by vertical, which is category, and or AOV, and or spend level. So go ahead and do that. So there's the Nashville thing. I think that's it. The 2 events, Nashville, Beluga Bash. Yeah.
I threw in a webinar that I'm doing next Tuesday.
Oh, how did I forget about that?
Got a good one going on there. A good mix of acquisition with lifecycle marketing, and then I'll even be showing off some of the benchmarks that Rob is talking about in my webinar next Tuesday. So
look at this. Oh man, plugs galore. Amazing. Okay. I think that is all the housekeeping we have. What else? We don't have any merch coming. Oh, actually, we do have a bunch of cool merch coming, but we'll save that for later. Amazing. So speaking of the Black Friday Cyber Monday guide, we're essentially going to pull that apart for you guys and then kind of drill down into any questions that you might have around that. But Logan, you want to take it from the top and then we'll just kind of go from there?
Yeah. And I actually think there's two things in this. Just for context, I made some notes against our Black Friday Cyber Monday guide. If you haven't downloaded that yet, please do. There's some awesome nuggets in there. But what we wanted to do today was, if you have read that, break that out into what you can do proactively in Triple Whale to prepare. And then also, like, what do you need to look at in Triple Whale during the promotion period to kind of feel confident? So two things I think maybe we should kick off with are the Creative Cockpit. And then it'll be a little bit of pixel, but also landing page testing.
Love it.
The reason I bring those two up is that from my personal experience, which is all I can really speak to, we spent a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say is what I did a couple of years ago. We focused really heavy on our creative before Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotion. So we went really heavy on looking through all of our current creative, like look at everything you can for the past period. Try to understand what the best performing styles are. So the way I broke this down was like asset type, which everyone understands, like they're either doing some sort of video, static, maybe GIF, right? And then asset, that's type, and then asset style, like text overlays. Are you doing like a zoom in on a product, like close up? Is it more lifestyle? What's working best for you? And I would utilize that for all of your creative for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But you need to have a ton of creative because things can go sour really fast and you just need to be able to swap out. So if you haven't signed up for the Creative Cockpit yet, I would suggest doing that. I think it'll be worth your money tenfold just during this time period.
And to your point as well, Logan, you can do some retroactive analysis in there to kind of pump your winners for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? Where you can see, you can make these segments and then understand whether videos, images, carousels are going to really drive. Oh, look at this. This is real time demos. Oh yeah,
thanks. Appreciate it, Sander. Yeah. So you can create the segments. You can kind of slice and dice this by style, but we have image and video there separately. But yeah, I guess I would go through a couple of past date periods and try to understand overall what's performing best for the brand, because that's kind of what you need to come out with on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I don't know if those are the times where I'd be testing too heavily. Right. It's like, I want to know what the best, what our customers are probably going to click on or comment on. Whatever you can do there to kind of keep the buzz and keep those ads rolling is what I would go with.
And Logan, where do you land in terms of metrics you care about? Like, are you looking at like a hold rate? Are you looking at a thumb stop ratio in terms of videos? Or are you looking at click through in terms of creative? Are you looking like, what are the metrics that you're really honing in on to make sure that you're using kind of the quote unquote best ads?
Yeah, I think, all right, looking at traditional, like if we're looking at past data, right, I would suggest monitoring some of the pixel metrics, right? You want to understand what your ROAS is against Facebook and what your conversions are. I would imagine most people want new customer acquisition, right? So you want to understand that. But then from the Facebook side, I find a lot of value, I think, in things like thumb stop ratio for videos, right, click-through rate. So those are the things where I think I would pay attention to. And then things that aren't as easy to see in the Creative Cockpit is like, are these ads building up a lot of social proof? Right. If they're getting a lot of, even if they're negative comments, if people are kind of chiming in, that's that's giving Facebook fuel to kind of continue to push it through their algorithm. So I think, yeah, I would kind of lead with all those things. And then if the creative already has a bunch of social proof, I would utilize that you could like run that with new copy,
right?
For the promotion period, or just keep some of your existing creative running during the promotion period too, if it's still one of your best performers.
So I was just going to ask you about that. And I know, Sander, you sat across a bunch of big accounts as well. Where do you guys land on that? Like, do you make Black Friday specific creative? Do you iterate on successful ones? Do you just reinvigorate post IDs that have a ton of social proof? Where do you guys land on that? And I'll start with you, Sandra, and then I want to get your views, Logan.
Yes. I would say
correct.
all the above. And yeah, in a more detailed response, I mean, I definitely like having Black Friday specific ads.
Okay.
I think those are great, and still leveraging a lot of like the social proof. I think the good thing is maybe I wouldn't run them on Black Friday. I'm probably only running like my Black Friday specific sell ads, but as we
Gotcha.
get more into like Saturday, Sunday before Cyber Monday,
Yep.
then I'm probably turning on my higher social proof ads just because everyone is looking to buy then. And if they're seeing ads with high social proof, you're probably going to get at least a click coming through to then nurture. And then if you're using Privy or anything similar like that to get emails, that will obviously help fuel your Cyber Monday email pushes and things like that. And you'll probably still get some good weekend sales as well, just because of that buyer behavior switch that is happening during that time.
Yep. What about you, Logan?
Yeah, I agree with that. I have a more technical question for Sandra that I think will be helpful to everyone in the audience. But before I get there, so we had specific Black Friday, Cyber Monday creatives. The thing that I iterated on was that we found that we found that product, we were in apparel, so we found that product on human almost always worked best, or a really nice, we would take like the really nice product photos that were done by the studio, and we would put them behind really fun elements like backgrounds, like either like some sort of glow with blue or green or red, something to accent it.
Yep.
And then, so we would take that plus product on human, and it had to be normally some sort of like bust shot where you could see that it was a human wearing it. You could kind of tell elements were around them, like a lifestyle, but you could really understand what the apparel item was.
Yep.
And then we did text overlays, and those seemed to work the best. Not like, I know back in the day, it was a big faux pas to do like more than 20% of your image covered in text. And that, I don't think that matters anymore.
No, they got rid of it.
But we would do like a small line that would be like something like 30% off site wide, or we would also run that exact same creative that would say like save up to $30, right? Because if it was 30% off a $100 order, that is $30. So it was like, you try to utilize both sides of psychology there with the human brain, I guess. But yeah, that's the word best.
I love that. And I want to use that segue in terms of, oh, hey, Benny from Baseballism. That's a awesome site. We love Jonathan. He's the man. You guys do great work over there. Sandra was actually just out at your conference. How do you guys think of, and pop any questions in that you guys have, whether it be in the questions or the chat, will make it work. How do you guys think of discounting during Black Friday, Cyber Monday? And so is it percentage? Is it money off? Is it bundling? Like, what do you think the best pathway forward is for people? Or is there no one size catches all?
I mean, I think I don't know, Logan, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, we covered this a little bit in the last webinar, but like, go back to your economics, try to understand your margin, right? If you have room to discount, great. If you don't have room on a single product to discount, then I would think about doing bundles where you could save on the bundle, which just improves, like when you bundle, that should improve like the amount of dollars you have to work with, I guess, where you can give some away. But yeah, traditionally, I've had success with discounting. And so I think I mentioned this last time, but it was based on tiers. So I knew that there had to be a minimum threshold.
Yep.
I didn't just say you could buy a $20 product and save 20%. Like, we wanted to hit a specific AOV because I knew that at that lowest AOV threshold, my new customer acquisition cost had to be X for us to stay profitable. So that's kind of why we worked the math out the way we did.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My opinion stayed the same there. I love the tier system, and like the free gifts, I think, are like a good way to like piggyback. I think free gifts are just, I kind of like a 2-for-1 type concept in a way. So that's great. And then the tiered system based on amount spent with a bigger discount, going back to Logan's comment, yeah, I think the more you can get people to buy then, the more products they'll love. I think the biggest thing to figure out on Black Friday, Cyber Monday is if all sales are final, because that can become a little complicated if people are returning things. So
Interesting. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
yeah, so we always tended to put all of our sales as final. I mean, we were still like lenient. If it like didn't work at all and we could exchange it, then like totally fine. But yeah, I think that's obviously when you're like dipping into the margins even more. If you're having to send additional shipping labels and things like that, it can become a little more costly that way.
Incredible. All right, Robert Ryan, First Blood. Because of that, Robert, for you taking the actual initiative, if you want to DM me or email me at Rabba@Triple Whale, we'll get you fitted up with, send me an address and what you want from the swag store, and we'll get you some swag. Okay, let's get this going. What efforts do you put in before/during Black Friday, Cyber Monday to maximize the number of new customers that will return or possibly even subscribe down the line? Oh, you're already ahead of me. Man, Sonder, you're good. Yeah, so Sonder is I'm going to actually minimize this so you guys can see the screen. Do you want to kind of walk them through what you're doing, Sonder?
Yeah, so what we're looking at here, actually, Rabba, can you walk them through? I'm going to make the date range go back further.
Exactly. So what we're doing here is, we're going to be looking at cohorts. And so cohorts are, without getting too deep in the weeds, think of them like a sports team. You get drafted to a sports team. You can never leave that sports team, and you only can score for that sports team. That's kind of like the mental model I like to use for cohorts. And so in this sense, the cohort is going to be group. You see this group by in the kind of upper middle of the screen. You're by month. And so think of that sports team analogy. You're in that by month. And now you can see when somebody gets acquired during that month, they're drafted during that month, how do they progress through your marketing ecosystem? And there's different ways to look at it. What Sonder has here is rolled up in terms of cumulative. So that means everything. And then he's rolling it up by LTV over here. Yep, that's fantastic. And so what he's going to be looking at now is people that were drafted, quote unquote, in November. And you can get even more granular if you wanted to by week or something like that, or even by day on a certain sale. We'll keep it by month just to keep things easy. But when I drafted somebody in November, how much did they cost me? So that's going to be your new customer CPA over here. What's the repurchase rate of that person that got drafted? And then how much are they worth in 2, 3, 4 years or what have you? He's doing a 1-year look back. So we're not taking into account, we're only taking into account last year. But if you have a ton of data, you can look back all the way to the origin of your store for the Shopify ordinary store. So now Sandra is going to look at, when I acquired somebody in November 2021, how much are they worth for me in, say, 6 months? And then if you scroll down, Sonder, you can, or even if you hit Command minus, you can make it. Yeah, exactly. At the bottom, it's a little fuzzy, but at the bottom, those are your account averages. And so you can see, are people that I'm acquiring in November, A, how much are they costing me? And B, are they even worth it? So to your point, Robert, that's how I would be using that's how I would govern how much effort do I put into actually acquiring people during November, because sometimes you can get the Groupon effect where you're just getting deal hunters that are only going to buy then. And again, that's not like you don't want to make that much money. It's just that, are you really worried about LTV to CAC kind of stuff? Like, how much is this person actually going to be worth? Am I going to waste a first round draft pick on this person? Man, we got in a sporty ball quick again, didn't we? Am I going to waste a high draft pick and put a bunch of resources to acquire people that are then going to get arrested and kicked off the team in 2 or 3 months or something like that? And so shout out Utah Jazz. And so that is a kind of higher level way of really understanding when you should be acquiring people, how much they're worth, and how they manifest LTV throughout a longer time period, whether that be 6 months, 12 months, what have you. And so you can use this cohorting tool where right now you can see February is a much better time to acquire people, where February 2022 is driving. So month 0 is actually month 1. So if you're looking at a 6 month, you're going to look at month 5. And so that's $85 compared to the account average of 60. So February is a really good time to acquire people for this business. Whereas honestly, November is a terrible time. Like I would not put a lot of effort in paid media to acquire people in this, because if you look at here, they're not too expensive, but they're not worth that much. They're worth $10 lower than the account average. And so that's how you can start to use cohorts to understand what your acquisition intensity, is how I like to describe it, should be during these months. Because again, November, it's going to be the most expensive time to buy ads. It's going to be the most competitive time to buy ads. And thinking it from a consumer level, you're going to be inundated with all these things and you're spending all this money on all these other things. So that's one way you can start to cut the noise out, is using this cohorting tool to then understand the cumulative LTV by month. And then you're going to look at what the people you acquired last month or last year during Black Friday, how much are they worth compared to people that acquired other things. But it's kind of a long spiel, but is that helpful, Robert? And then would you guys add anything, Logan or Sander?
Yeah, I would. We're kind of past the stage, but I think to your point, what I like to do is historically, we actually didn't see that happen this year, but usually in Q3, budgets tend to become cheaper, or at least CPMs become cheaper is really what I should say there. Budgets become lower across the board. We didn't see that this year, at least with the data that we have, $3 billion in spend. So interesting tidbit. But what I like to do is look and see what is like August and September typically look like from acquiring customers. What does that month 0 look like, those first orders in comparison? And then that's where I actually like to then go look at like the November months. Yep. So right here would be September, October, November, and not like a really big increase here. Right. And so that's kind of surprising, and not a big increase here either. So typically what we like to see is a 30% increase in LTV by month 3 and 100% increase by month 12. We're not even seeing for these cohorts of customers a big increase during like the Black Friday times. So to me, yeah, I think that's where, Rob, getting back to your point, looking at the data, it's like, these earlier January, February, March months seem to be really, kind of your money months from an LTV or initial order here. So yeah, that's just some of the additional data I like to look at to more like plan my media buying earlier to build up my email list. So it's just interesting. Yeah, the trickle effect here didn't really pay off too much for this particular brand.
Yep. No, very well said. What about you, Logan? Anything else?
Well, I'll mention 2 things strategy-wise I think I would do, because you do mention subscribe and maximize the number of new customers. One thing that I think gets overlooked is trying to gather some zero-party data on your customers.
That's a really
one thing I would do specific, like right now, I do this through we have 2 partners. There's ours, but I'm going to suggest something that's not in ours yet. Inquire and K&O, they're Faring and K&O are both partners of ours. One thing I would suggest doing is downloading one of their apps and putting into your store not only the attribution question, like how did you find out about us, but ask a secondary question that says something on the lines of, who are you buying for today? Or something on lines that gives you feedback on, are they buying as a gift? Or are they buying for themselves?
That's a really good
and
point.
The reason I think this is important is because I think some brands miss the point where people will come in and buy during Black Friday or Cyber Monday, and then they get bombarded with normal emails come January, and they're not the consumer. They're there to buy as a gift for someone else.
Really good.
So you need to hit them at the next like gift buying season. So like the next thing to do would probably be either a product launch email. It's just brand new. The person you bought for would love this because maybe they've gotten feedback at this point. They love their gift. The next one is like a Father's Day, Mother's Day, whatever that next holiday is. That's what I would do. So capture that. It's nearly free to capture that information, and it's stored in Klaviyo. The next thing I would do is create a segment in Klaviyo right now. Understand how many subscribers you have that have 0 orders and subscribed in the last 90 days, because those are new customers that you can. It's almost a free channel to convert people who are already interested and haven't bought yet. They could be waiting on a sale or some sort of discount. So pay attention to that list size over your time period as well. You're
really well put.
And so focus on them and separate your campaigns out against that segment. and understand like how they're doing. Are you converting those people that are on your list but haven't made a purchase yet?
LB with the heat. That's fantastic. And yeah,
Great.
there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with a post purchase survey that not only will roll into the triple pixel for attribution, but also if you use Fairing or no, you can do some really cool stuff of like either why you bought or almost information gathering from people that are very, very motivated to tell you the truth. And so that's a really, really good points there, Logan. And I love the idea of the potentiality of some people are great customers that are in the ecosystem, but there can be a bit of a freezing effect during October because people are waiting for that. Like almost every store runs a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. And so being able to drip on those people that are really excited and in the ecosystem, but have yet to make a purchase. That's really clever, Logan. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Any other questions? So I'm going to have to leave you beautiful people in the more than capable hands of Logan and Sonder in 2 minutes. So if you have another question, toss it in here. If not, I'm going to gracefully bow out. What else do we got? Let's go back to this thing. Okay. So we kind of covered the creative planning. Then you have a nice little breakdown here of offers, spend, and revenue planning. Do you want to just touch on kind of existing offers, or we kind of touched on that, right? Or do we need to do it again?
Yeah, we touched on that. I think one of the things I would do in Triple Whale, you can do it in your Shopify account as well, is just try to take note of your inventory. I know this sounds funny, but I
Oh, that's
think
a
some
great
people
point.
like
It's a
think they're going to make
really
$2
good
million
point.
during Black Friday, but they don't even have $2 million worth of goods, right, to sell. So pay attention to like what you have. What are the best sellers right now? And are you stocked up?
Yep.
And number two, what are you like really heavy in that you need to liquidate? You can set up these strategies on discounting and deals based on that. So one of my little tips in this notes was just like create a secret collection, not secret, but just doesn't have to be
That's
public on
brilliant.
your navigation. Set up a collection of like your highest inventory liquidating items, then set a discount code that's heavy and say it's only applied to that collection. And you can lead with that in your emails. You can lead with that in your ad creative. But that's a good way to like liquidate items and get people just get them out the door and get cash back in hand, so you can focus on the stuff that matters, like the products that are doing well. You can reinvest.
Well said. Well said. Man, I'm not even adding value. I'm just a little peanut gallery. So, you beautiful humans, thank you so much for joining in. Robert, do not forget to email me, and I'm going to gracefully bow out and leave you in the hands of Logan and Sonder. Logan and Sonder, you guys are amazing humans. Thank you so much for pulling the weight for me today, and have an awesome time, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Cool.
See
Yeah,
you
man.
later.
All right. So we got some folks with us here. We're Q&A will be open for sure. I had like one other thing I wanted to talk on that was related to cohorts, by the way, Sonder, and I'll put something here. It was related to like new customer acquisition cost. And so I wanted to.
Do you want me
This
to
is
share
kind
my
of a.
screen again?
You can, yeah. I'm gonna put a formula in here, in the chat for everyone. Now this is a swag thing, so I'm sorry if people want to rip me apart because it looks terrible. But check out this. Check out this formula. This is like kind of a swag way of thinking about using the cohort analysis overall to understand like your 90-day LTV on your customers overall. So like you can look at the average column if you want. You can look at just the sales period from last year, like November, December, and try to understand like how much were these customers worth. The reason I would choose 90 days is because that gives you more leeway on acquiring a customer during this time period where it's going to be more expensive to do so. And if you're willing to take a 90-day payback period, meaning you're expecting a percent of customers to order again in January and order again in February, you should make the cash back if you lost money on the initial order. But in any case, I would take something like either your AOV, 60 or 90-day LTV, subtract the discount you're thinking of giving, so you can understand on a per order basis, subtract the discount, then subtract COGS, average COGS, just kind of figure out what it is, like the typical margin you have on the products being ordered. And then your shipping and fulfillment for, say, now in this, you may have to calculate the 2 or 3 orders. So if every single order costs you $10 in fulfillment, earmark $30 for that. And then take that money, that's almost like your contribution margin, and determine, after I acquire the customer, after ad spend, how much money am I going to take home? Because in this example, there's like a $65 margin on that 90-day LTV. So if I acquire customers for $40, that means I'm only taking home 25. So if you can get that in your head for the sales period and your ad spending, and you earmark that $40, that's your number, I would stick to it. So look at your NCPA and the pixel, and also look at ROAS and NC ROAS in the pixel to determine, are my ads going out and acquiring new customers, or am I accidentally spending a bunch of money to reacquire my existing? But that's a long rant. So Sandra, if you have any piggyback off of that.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I was going to say this is like a great contribution margin to be like looking at. So I think this is a great way to approach it. I think, I probably wouldn't look past the 90-day LTV. Would just be like my personal recommendation. So I think a 90-day is like a good healthy place to be, just because if you're looking past that, it usually leads to more difficult cash flow situations. So I think a good way to manage cash flow is to keep it about that 90-day. And then, I think you nailed it. The only thing I would add is we do actually show you within your Pixel page what your new customer ROAS is. So I'm going to actually pull that up next to my other ROAS metrics here, and I'll zoom in. So this is like my favorite view. Oh, go ahead, Logan.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I just want to make sure everybody understands. If you see ROAS, blended pixel ROAS is higher than new customer ROAS, I know this may be beating the dead horse, but that means you're acquiring some customers that are already acquired. Like, their returning customers are going into that revenue conversion value. So the closer those two numbers are, the more new customers you're acquiring.
Yep.
I guess as simple as I can put it.
Yeah, great call out. So yeah, exactly. And how you can kind of understand that as well is you can look at your total Pixel purchases as well as your new customer purchases here. And you can do a division of that to see, all right, out of my 314 purchases in this specific campaign, 237 of them are new customers. And so that's obviously why you have a lower new customer ROAS here versus a Pixel ROAS. So this is Facebook's in-platform ROAS number. This is the triple pixel platform ROAS and new customer ROAS. So I think this is a great way to be judging your efforts in real time. So as I'm spending money on Black Friday through that weekend, through Cyber Monday, honestly, from Black Friday up until December 17th, 16th, whatever that cutoff date is, I'm really heavily looking in here, and I'm looking at different attribution models to actually judge the success of this. Because when it comes to prospecting, for me, I really like to use a first click model. Just because if we're spending money on ads, it is to usually acquire new customers. Now you might run ads on Facebook to like a Klaviyo list, an existing customer list. That's totally fine. And I would definitely recommend like doing that, get more bang for your buck there. So a first click is just letting us know how many people first clicked on a campaign and purchased. And so I usually like to hopefully see that this new customer ROAS number goes up when we do that. Sometimes it can go down, but that's exactly why I like to use the different data points. So that's exactly how I would be judging the success of this in real time, is first looking at my new customer ROAS, then looking at my Pixel ROAS, then looking at my platform ROAS. So the reason I like to use platform ROAS still as an indicator is because the Pixel or the algorithm is using this number usually to find you the best audience. So that doesn't mean if this has a low ROAS that I'm not going to continue to scale if I'm seeing a high new customer ROAS here. The pixel will always catch up eventually once it finds that 60% that Meta is able to track. So yeah, I just wanted to piggyback more on that, Logan. On new customer ROAS is probably my favorite metric, period. But specifically when we're spending money on Black Friday and CPMs are crazy and it's a lot more expensive, but conversion rates are a lot higher as well, this is what I would be judging the success of my prospecting campaigns on.
Yep. I like it. And yeah, because just so everyone's aware, like when you're looking in Triple Whale during this time period, things are going to be flying. Like you should see orders almost immediately. People are in a buying period, like a buying behavior attitude. They want to be buying. So you'll know pretty quickly if something's working, in my opinion. So just pay attention, be swift. As long as you have your creatives and your audiences kind of set, which someone asked a question that we'll get to in a second related to that. So just know like your structure beforehand, how your campaigns are going to be structured, your ad sets, and I would just filter out creative from there. Yeah. So yeah, we got a couple of questions here, Sandra, we can answer. All right. So Josh Cull asked, before Black Friday, do you guys send email campaigns 1 to 2 weeks before, kind of hyping up Black Friday sale, saying it's coming soon, what to expect? Or is your first Black Friday email the day of or a few days before? So Josh, we touched on this on the last webinar, and I'll give you my answer, then Sandra can go next. 1 to 2 weeks prior to the sale is when now Raba has a beef against this, but this was our strategy. We sent emails out to our existing customers and kind of like cohorted our VIPs of sorts and gave them a slight discount and first dibs on the site. So we basically told them like, hey, these are the deals that are coming out on Black Friday. We're sending you this email because you're a VIP in our eyes, and you can either wait for the Black Friday deal, or you can take advantage of this and you get first dibs at all of our current inventory. It's all as best it's going to be leading up to the sale. And then our current audience just got our normal cadence. So we had kind of like a normal cadence of email campaigns that went out 3 days a week. And the reason I didn't give them any kind of discount is because I would prefer to keep the contribution margin if I can. If people are willing to spend right now without a discount because they want something, that's great. So that was my strategy. And then, like, as you mentioned, we did pump up the full list about the sale. Like, hey, this is launching in 48 hours. So we did have kind of a hype email as well.
Yeah, I love it. I think those are all valid. And for sure, I mean, it's going to come down to your business. I love doing any kind of like tease or hype marketing. I think is always a fun thing to do. So I completely agree with everything Logan said. I would probably send like a week before, kind of like, I don't know, some like blurred images and like really create like some excitement around, what you're launching. So a lot in the last webinar that I talked about was having like special launches for your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and usually like bundling those with existing product, kind of going back to that tiered system. But I think anything you can do just to create like that excitement a week or two before, I think is great, especially because so many more companies are starting their Black Friday sales like a week earlier. It's kind of like a race to the bottom in a way with how quickly you start Black Friday sales. I don't love that, but a lot of other companies are doing it. So I think it's a way for you to still stay competitive, still have your customers be like, well, I need to save some money for this. Like they're getting me excited about it. Maybe you do like a little try on sneak peek. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different things you could do depending on the industry and product you're in to create that buzz, that mystery, that excitement. So when you do launch on Black Friday, or maybe you do that 24-hour early access to VIPs, which I also love, I think it just really helps create that excitement and hopefully people not spending all their money on, other stores.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I heard last year a lot, whether you agree, and anyone talking that I'm talking to here agrees with it or not, was that like every customer probably has some sort of share of wallet, right? Like they probably have a budget of X amount of dollars, and is your company going to have a share of that budget? So I think that's why people were pushing to go early, because it was like, if we can be first, then we might increase our chances of having the share of wallet. But you never know. It's like, if we did it or we didn't do it, what would have happened? And I think you just got to pick your strategy and feel good about it and roll, or feel confident and roll.
Love it.
Cool. All right. So Benny Brockman, what are strategies you have for increasing new customer rates and reducing NCPA? Mr. Sonder?
I mean, to be honest, it's a little more challenging these days where audiences are more broad. So it usually, at this point, kind of comes down to the offers. So, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but like discounts are, becoming more and more popular. Benny, potentially, I think with your business, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're including like a pack of baseball cards with every new purchase, like a random pack. Like, I think you kind of have to like increase the offer or increase the urgency. So I think however you can best do that, maybe that's through like a flash sale, right? That's like maybe more of a discounted item for the day. That's kind of like that tripwire product of getting someone in, and then you can nurture them throughout. But yeah, it tends, so much is now reliant on the offer because the audiences kind of are what they are, and they're super broad. And with Facebook going towards Advantage Plus, it kind of limits some of the targeting we can do. So I would just say you just have to kind of spice up the offer. And I would lean more into urgency than I would like discount, because I don't love, like, most discount customers aren't the type of customers you want. And so more of like an urgency type offer or an add-on top type of offer, I think would be probably where I would like start to play around in.
Yeah. All right. Let me, I think those are great, Sonder. I think, I don't know if exclusion audiences really work that well, but try that. Try excluding your audiences on Facebook to see if you can reach only new customers. So see what you can do there. And then, yeah, everything that Sonder mentioned, like when we are thinking about channel specific, like Facebook, and you're trying to get people to convert, we have to get them to be interested in the product and the ad and the offer, right? And then I think the harder part is on the site, doing some things to, once you have the traffic, like how can you convert them? So thinking about optimization to some extent. I'll give some off the cuff ideas here. One thing is landing page and how you've structured it. One thing that I did that seemed to work fairly well. Now, could it have been improved? Probably, but I did like this buying guide. And so I built it in Shogun. And basically what I did was like, our products were very niche. And so we had a lot of people buying for as gifts. And so it was like, hey, here's our everything under $50. Here's everything under $100. And then it was like the premium gifts. And so in Shogun, what I did was I featured like 4 products for every single one, and then had a button out to the larger collection that was like all products under 50, all products under 100. So I think in any way, what I'm getting at there is like, think of a way to make the buying process extremely easy. If you have a lot of SKUs, see if you can't create a landing page that focuses on like, hey, looking for a gift, this is what you need to buy. And just makes it like super simple, because some people get like, they're buying from a lot of different sites. They need to get this out of the way. They need to buy gifts, right? So think about that. The other thing I would think of that it could work is partnering with affiliates, or think of anyone you can go through to help with that acquisition of new customers that's outside of the typical programmatic buying program. So like instead of Facebook, or with Facebook, who do you know in your referral networks that you could create a deal with to say, hey, the week prior to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I want you to send an email out to all of your people. And here's what it needs to include. Can you work with another brand that's complementary and trade placements in their email? See if you can find like unique creative ways like that to reach out to people that might be interested in your brand. and we'll help you with that new customer acquisition and reducing the NCPA.
That's good. That's a great call out. Channel diversification is like pretty big right now. So I think that's, great call out.
Yeah. And then I think focusing on the website, you're going to get a lot of traffic. So like, where can you send the traffic to ensure that the buying process is as easy as possible? And how can you make sure the deal that you're offering is like almost slaps them in the face? Like they don't need to work hard to get the deal. Either you automate it at checkout, or you make sure that any page they're on, they can easily see the banner at the top of the site that says, here's what the deal is and here's how to take advantage. Make it very clear, very concise. Like when I worked at Chubby's, I mean, it took them a lot of dev time to figure this out, but like everything was done in the cart. Like the customer had to do nothing. It was like add things to your cart. And then as you did, the cart would update and tell you, you've qualified for this prize or that thing. And so like, not everyone's going to have the ability to do that, but think about what's the easiest way for me to get my, my deal across so that people can easily convert.
Love that. Yep. I love the personalization piece too that you led with the landing page. I think matching offer to offer that way is like a great experience. Usually that was kind of like a Google strategy, right? Where your search ad would usually match the copy of your landing page. I think that that same strategy applies great for any channel that you're maximizing. So if you are maybe working with like a bigger influencer, maybe it's like an influencer branded page, just to like build on, them, the customer seeing them using the product when they go to the page again, just like constant reinforcement to whatever that offer is. So whether that's Shogun or Unbounce or what's the other one? Unstack? Is that Unstack?
Yeah. Unstack.
Yeah, Unstack.
I think Unstack does some personalization like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some great different landing page builders that build directly into Shopify that keep the experience great. And then we also have like our headless code that you can put on those landing pages to really help drive that home. So yeah, great comments, Logan.
Yeah. I had an idea. Speaking of Google, if you're using I don't know how to do this myself or I would help you, but if you have an agency or you're a Google wizard, there's definitely like a deals thing that you need to launch. So if you are running 20% off, you can put that into your Google account. And so you tell Google when you're starting to run the campaign, and it'll display like a cool little thing over your search ads and your shopping ads. It'll say that there's like a 20% discount offer, 30% discount, and that could help push new customers, over the edge to get your product if your competitors haven't done that and you think there's a lot of search intent for the product you're trying to sell. So make sure you do that as well.
Great.
Cool. All right, we're coming up close to time, so we've got a few people left in here. If there's any other questions, please pop them in the questions. I'll also check out my notes for a second just to see if there's anything else I wanted to keep everybody abreast of. No, I think, here we go. Here, let's start this. Robert Ryan, good question. All right, what kind of big swings creatively have you seen work on landing pages? Sandra, do you have anything? I'm trying to think of a big swing. Like what's something that's like out of left field?
By swing, are you meaning like, Robert, like percentage increase or like ideas that lead to like good performance? He's typing, so we'll give him a sec.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good performance. Okay.
I would say, like I mentioned, I just think the offer matches tend to be like pretty big. And so that's where, if it is coming from like a partner page, I think including that partner on the landing page is big. If it's an influencer, putting that influencer content tends to honestly like work extremely well. Like I normally see it double conversion rates, which is, I mean, really good. So anytime we can double a conversion rate, that's great. So personalization, I would say, is like probably or maybe that's not necessarily personalization, more consistency, a similar experience from ad to landing page or influencer to landing page. I think it just makes it feel more that they're at home, because if they've engaged with that influencer, they've been following them, they're going to a page that has that influencer all over. So it just feels like familiar to them. So I'm not a big like psychologist on all the things that go into that, but that's typically, those are like the two big ones that I've really tested and seen good performance. Logan, what have you seen?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like I'm a huge proponent of like testing, like A/B testing, because otherwise everything I'm about to say is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that a couple of things that could be interesting as far as big swings. One, can you, just like with Shogun, can you make the entire checkout experience on the landing page? Like, can they just simply pick their SKU, pick their size, and add to cart right there? And that way they don't have to like go from the landing page to somewhere else and then yada yada. If you can do everything in one easy experience, like that's great.
Yeah.
The next thing, it's not a big swing, but like focusing on the why the customer should buy this. So like in my world, it was very niche. So it was like this was for Grateful Dead fans, for example. And so we knew that like 50 to 60% of the traffic we were getting were actually just like family of the fans, and they were buying for them. So like we were just be very blunt about like why they need this. Like it's extremely high quality. It's made by fans. It's a unique item that they won't get anywhere else, yada, yada, whatever those selling points are, like hit them with that first. So some sort of like really nice creative that shows off your product, the 3 or 4 bullet points of why you need to buy this, and see if they convert from that. Um, that's probably something I would do. Yeah. See if you can make the checkout process super frictionless, and then focus on why they need it. Because during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's like people are just kind of scrambling around. I feel like the internet's kind of like a Walmart on a real Black Friday,
I agree. One thing that came up as you're talking about that for me is bundling. I think is really impactful. So we offer an insights here. So I think there's some cool like social proof you could add to your landing page to increase like that AOV. And so that's where you could say like 37% of customers bought, this Lulu 2-strand and top knot ponytail holder together. And then if you had like customer reviews underneath that of people who have used like both of them, I think that's like a good way to increase more like AOV. So that's more like an AOV test than like a, lower friction, to
that
buy.
could be conversion rate. I mean, I think I don't even know how we miss social proof, but like even if you're doing this scrappy, like take screenshots of your social proof. Like if you're using an app to collect that stuff, like let's say reviews from your products, and you're using an app to collect that on the site, like just take screenshots of that and use those images on your landing page. Because the customer at that point has already kind of given you permission to use it and stuff. So I think that could be huge and hugely helpful for someone who doesn't know your brand.
Amen.
Yep. I mean, but on this too, like we talked about friction and reducing friction. If you're going to do something like 37% of customers bought the Lulu 2-strand and the top knot ponytail, don't make it hard for them to find those products. Either combine them into a SKU in your Shopify store, or put them right next to each other so they can easily add both to their cart.
Yeah.
I would
even do that on the landing page
to find these things.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Say that again.
I was just saying there's nothing worse than having to like search the site to like find these things that you saw on an ad or was on the main homepage. Like I don't want to take time to search it.
Yep.
Just show me and I'll take it.
Yeah. I would say just add that as like a product set, its own product on your website, and have that on the landing page where people can just add to cart right then and there. And then on your back end and shipping, you can work it all out that way. So yeah, I'd for sure make it very easy.
Yeah, the other tactical thing you can do, like we used that, I mentioned it last time, we use this app called Frequently Bought Together, and they have something out of the box where you can set up a rule when X product is in cart, display X product, Y product as an upsell. So do that too. Like if you know that people are buying those two things together, make sure your cart does the slide out function. So when they click Lulu 2-strand and they add to cart, it'll slide out. When it slides out, it'll show the Lulu 2-strand, and then it'll say people also bought this top knot ponytail thing. It'll be like right in front of their face. So they can easily just click add that to my cart as well, which will increase AOV, reduce friction, all of that.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all she wrote.
Yeah. Cool, guys. So thanks for everyone for coming out. Being with, we got a question. Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. What's a good app for the frequently bought together feature? No, I think, Benny, sorry, I'll put it here. Benny, I think it's actually called Frequently Bought Together. I think that's what the app was called when I was using it. So check that out in the App
You
Store.
could probably search bundling app in Shopify and you
Either bundling or upsell. This one offered a bunch of different options like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was called Also Bought. Either Frequently Bought Together or Also Bought. Something like that. It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I used one called Bought Together before.
Bought
as
Together.
well.
Yeah. I don't
Something
know.
like
Maybe it's
that,
all the same
so.
thing.
I don't know.
Check it out. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. We should be back again next Wednesday. Sander, is it next Friday? There's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday webinar with Raba and Alexa. Is that next Friday?
Let me look. There's one on Thursday, October 27th.
Yeah, Thursday. It must be Thursday. So everybody make sure you go sign up for that. I think it's tripwhale.com/BFCM. And you can sign up through that link.
Okay. Yep. We'll send an email out as well. So you should see an email.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Till next
See you,
time,
everyone.
everyone. Thanks.